What's going on, guys? This is Miasin, and today is not my own deck profile, but rather the one from my boy Anthony, who managed to get a regional invite at a regional in Kissimmee, Orlando, Florida. So, Anthony, what's good?
How's it going? This is Zephra's, and I've been working on this project for a little bit, and I'm a huge fan. I think this is a real anti-meta contender.
That's actually crazy, man. Literally nobody in this planet almost knows how to play Zephra except for you and probably 3 other humans. So we might need a lot of explanation today.
Most of the cards are pretty straightforward, but one of the big takeaways that you can see just by looking at the list is there's 17 rotas essentially. So one thing Zephyr's really has going for it is just straight up consistency, built in its own engine. For the rotas, you have Zefra Path, which is the main one. He's just a straight +1. He activates Zephra as a scale, and then he takes any Zephra Pendulum monster from your main deck and he puts him in your extra deck face up, and he copies the scale. So almost every time you're activating it and you're sending Zefra Nui to your extra deck to make himself a scale 7, and then you just scale any of your 1s, and you're able to pendulum summon Zefra Nui, which is another search. And to get to Zephrath or your low scale or anything else you need for your any combination of cards, you have Providence, which is just add any Zefra card, period. And then it has a
kind of like a Salamangreat Veiling's grave effect in the graveyard.
Yeah, Salamangreat effect in the grave, or Oracle, the field spell, which is just add any Zefra monster. Or Rhoda, which can add either Thuban or Deneb, which gets you any of the Tellarknight scales, or obviously Terraforming the Oracle. So tons of ways to just get into Zephrath or any low scale you're missing.
So Oracle of Zephra also does something other than Search of Zephra, and a lot of people usually can't really use that effect, but in your deck you can actually abuse that part of Oracle of Zephra.
Yes, so one of the really cool interactions this deck has against pretty much everything meta at the moment is if you synchro summon using any Zephra monsters as synchro material, you get to stack a monster on the top of your deck. So the real easy way to abuse that is Zefra Nui being level 6 and Zephraxi being a level 3 lets you go into Crocosaur. So you can just go Crocosaur Chainlink 2, Oracle Chainlink 1, and you get to stack Lancia and then draw it in the same chain.
Yeah. I mean, in this situation, it would be Crocosaur Chainlink 1 and then Oracle Chainlink 2. But yeah, that's why Artifact Lancia is being played. It's a one-of, but it's not a card that, is hard to get your hands on. And you don't need Artifact Dagda either, which is the really cool part about this card. And it's not like, you played it as you would in Droidtron, where you have Ben 10 and stuff like that. This card, you straight up draw it, but you know for a fact that you're about to draw it.
Yeah, so it's one of the really cool, almost skip your opponent's turn cards in the deck that just can let you a lot of wins.
Yeah.
And so the win con of the deck essentially is just Zefra Nui adding Zefra Path, which is the craziest floodgate. Actual FDK card, custom card.
It's actually stupid. Yeah, no, it's you basically resolve. Basically, neither player can special summon monsters except from the hand or extra deck. Well, you have full scales. Obviously, it dies when you, I think, lose.
Well, so you only need full scales to activate the card.
Okay.
And you have to shuffle back all monsters that are non-Zephyr from your set field, which is at most the Deneb maybe you normaled earlier that turn. But which is good too because I'll explain later. But so yeah, Zephyr Path, you activate it only when you have Zephyr scales, and then it shuffles your monsters back, and then both players can only special from hand and extra. So that means no tokens, no E-Tellies, no specialing from deck, no Phantom Knight summoning from grave, cannot even activate any of the Eldritch traps.
My god.
Yeah. Prank Kids aren't resolving, Live Twins aren't resolving, the Tenues aren't resolving. Actual custom card.
What? This is almost on the level of Vanity's Emptiness, but because of the fact that it's searchable, and also you protect it with your counter traps, and you play 2, by the way, Zephyr Divine Strike and 9 Pillars. Good luck outing this.
Yeah, and if as if it couldn't be better, Zefra Path cannot be targeted, and the only way it can be destroyed is if one of your scales is specifically destroyed, which means Vishuda can't out it, DPE is just going to get negated by 9 pillars, or Providence is just protecting it.
Oh, by the way, the DPE will not be coming back. Just
no, it won't. No.
Oh man, that's crazy. This deck just, I don't know, you look at it and you're like, bro, I don't understand. And then you explain for like 3 seconds and I'm like, okay, I understand. But
Yeah, nobody gets it. And you close games with Utopia double because
yeah.
obviously you're playing like all these level 4s. So just Deneb, you just normal Deneb, add the scale, special,
Mhm.
make the Utopia, and then Utopia play. No, all of these cards play around your own path except for the Gamma. But Gamma's just negating
Uh,
the Ogre turn 1 on Zefrath is basically the whole reason it exists.
that's true. Yeah, yeah. You've never really considered playing triple tactic talents, right?
I don't think there's room for it. I suppose you certainly could, but Gamma like pretty much puts in all the work. You have to assume, and it's like correct to assume that going into any game, no one knows what any of these cards do.
Yeah.
So you're gonna activate Zefrath. They're gonna look at it and be like, "Damn, like a +1 and like a juicy like ogre target. Like they're gonna ogre it every time." And you're gonna gamma every time, and that's already like a win con because Omega's just ripping another card out of their hand, and then you're setting a counter trap, and they're playing with like 4 cards
Yeah.
versus a floodgate and a counter trap.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Good luck. And have you
And
ever resolved Gamma with monsters on the field because of Lambda?
every time, all the time.
Whoa!
No,
Really?
it's
Okay.
no, oh yeah, because so you're turn 1, right? You're summoning Zefra Nui, and then you're setting
Yeah.
9 pillars. A lot of times they don't have like a play, like at all, right? So next turn you're just normaling Deneb to search a scale, and then you're just making Lambda right there, and then that way you can get the extra pendulum summon. You have the 2 zones from Lambda,
Okay.
and you have the Gamma. Like it's
Oh.
I make Lambda a lot. Like it's very good. And that's the same reason you play Gravity Controller. Is if they just let your Zephyr Nui float and they don't like swing into it or anything, you can just make Gravity Controller out of it, and then you just get to Pendulum Summon it again for another search.
Not only that, but also, I don't know, Gravity Controller, it could come up if your opponent also summons something weird like Mech Knight Crusadia Avamax with IP Masquerena. Not that
That's
it
right.
really matters, but it could come up.
Some people see some of the other spice in the extra deck, like a Constellar Diamond is a funny soft win con against like Dragon Link and like Phantom Knights.
Yeah, no dark effects, basically. In the graveyard or field, right?
Either you
Jesus.
cannot like, and it's not once. It's
Oh,
not
it's
once per turn.
possession? You gotta be kidding me.
It's just anytime a dark monster effect is activated,
Oh
detached
my
to negate.
freaking god. Oh
And
my god.
you can't send cards from deck to grave,
Yeah.
and you can't add cards from grave to hand.
Basically, the way you summon this is a little similar to like Cyber Dragon Infinity on top of Nova. Nova
That's
being
right.
the Battlemaeus in this situation, right?
Yep, and you just stack it on
Yeah.
top.
And it's
You
just
can't.
2 level 4 Teller Knights, so Deneb and the card that you search. So if you can Pendulum Summon, that's it. You can already make it in 2 seconds.
Yeah, the only downside is you can only make it turn 1 by using the rank 4's effect, and you have to discard for that, so it's kind of going minus. But because you can't go into main phase 2 to summon Diamond with its own effect,
Yeah,
which
that
is
is
the
true.
only downside. But other than that, Dweller is like extremely powerful. I mean, I actually won a match because of I just Dweller passed against 60 card pile. They actually don't have a play.
Yeah, the Dweller against literally any 60 card deck in history outside of Inferno, it was always game. That's
Yeah,
always what you blind. So,
yeah, Dweller is
crazy,
like
man.
cracked, and Guska is goaded.
Oh, man. But whether it's an attack or defense, always broken.
Yeah, and then so you can just turn 1 Paguska, and then they just pass their turn, and they just put an attack swing, make Zeus.
This deck is freaking sick. I swear to
It's
God.
it's really good. My side deck choices are kind of weird, I
Interesting.
suppose. Well, so most of it is just win more, go first cards, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, and if like obviously if you're drawing massive restrict against Flunder or like Drytron,
Drytron.
like they do not have an out. And same thing with Shadow Mirror against like Phantom Knights or yeah against Dragon Link, they don't have an out. D Barrier is especially good because
Hmm.
against something like Sword Soul, right?
Yeah.
They're just gonna normal Moye or something or make Monk, and then you just flip D barrier and they pass, and then they have either Moye 1700, Monk's 1000, or whatever, and that's
Ah.
game if Utopia just swings over it.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I mean, you really punish your opponent super hard for not doing enough. Like, you might as well just set a monster if you're not doing anything.
Yeah, no one like sees
Ah.
Utopia coming, so like they're just like, oh,
Yeah.
like certainly like Zephra's not OTKing me, right? Like certainly.
Yeah, and it's not like Nibiru did anything at all against your deck. Not even if you try to lose to Nibiru, like you have to put in so much effort.
The two main things that went into building this deck was I thought to myself, I was like, what doesn't lose to 19 hand traps, right? And what just like FTKs people. So
Yeah.
Path is the FTK win con, and then this deck doesn't lose to Nib. It's not losing to Ash. It's not losing to like Ogre. It's not losing to Droll kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But you know, like Veil or Imperm, like all these cards are like they're
Mhm.
okay, but like you're not getting like blown out by like Nib Veiler, right?
Yeah.
Because like obviously like half these decks, like if you're playing like Sword Soul, or if you're playing like Pile or something, like Nib Veiler is going to you lose. Like there's no
The
there's no
thing.
out. Like you lost the
Yeah.
game. But
Exactly.
like with this, like if you just summon like Zephyr and like maybe it gets like impermed or something, like you're still getting
Yeah.
you can still protect with Providence, you're not getting OTK'd. You can still search War off of it as disruption, so you're not
Yep.
getting like Scythe locked or something.
Y-
Like there's so many ways for you to just like float. And then
Speaking of
and that's implying you don't have Gamma.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And speaking of Zephyr War, it's literally a searchable hand trap, and I think a lot of people might not even know that. For them, it's just another slow trap card. No, no, no. When you destroy your Zephra Nui with 9 pillars, you get another interruption as an added bonus.
Yeah, so it's like it's turning. You have like so many, and with the I mentioned it earlier. If you activate Path to bounce your own Deneb back to just leave Zephyr Nui and 9 pillars, if you 9 pillars away your Zephyr Nui, it makes the Gamma live, which is really
Yep,
good because now
exactly.
you have no monsters left on the board.
So, ironically, shuffling back your own monsters with the Zefra Path can almost help you sometimes.
Yeah.
That's actually hilarious. But yeah, the follow-up of this deck is just kind of nice because you always Pendulum Summon to get another negate every single time. You have 3 trap cards that are all, of course, searchable. As you said, Zephyr Providence searches a card, not a monster. You can protect your skills, and it's a Zephyr card or cards you control will be destroyed, so your opponent can go Twin Twister, and you're like, okay, I'm not losing anything at all. And
Mhm.
there's just so much searchability. Even Upstart acting. I really like Upstart in this deck again. If you don't want to make, a card like Krakazor, you can make Baroness, and then you go Upstart and you draw the card that you know for a fact you're about to draw. So there's
Yeah.
just so much logic inside of this. This is my cup of tea, honestly.
It's nice, and the actual Tellarknight cards are they're actually not they're really not bad. Like the pop effects are solid for going second. Like there's a lot of
Yeah.
times where if you have their read on Ash, or they just have like Griffin Rider face up on the field, you can pendulum summon the Zephyr Nui and any of the Tellarknights and just not activate Zephyr Nui and just activate the Tellers to pop the Zephyr Nui and just one of their cards, and then
Yeah.
Zephyr Nui just gets the search at the end anyway when it's popped.
Yeah, exactly. And another cool thing would be the interaction with Shadal Zephyr Naga.
Yeah, so the Tellarknights, Exciton pops a Teller or Zephyr card you control and a face down your opponent controls, and Thubin's the same thing but for face up. But they
Yep.
only pop on resolution,
Mm-hmm.
and Naga is when it's pen summoned, you bounce a scale. So you can, if you pen summon any combination of the Tellers and Naga, you just activate Naga as the last card in the chain, and it will bounce back your target for the Tellarknights, and the Tellarknights will just pop for free.
And not only that, but also you get to chain block and actually play around negates that way. Your opponent can have like a huge giant omni negate, and you still destroy it regardless.
Yeah, so there's a lot of ways to like reward good play in this deck, and I think
Mhm.
that was one of the things that really had going for me into this tournament was one, obviously no one knows what your cards do, which helps
Yeah.
quite a bit. Playing against like a negate format where you're facing cards like Baroness, Griffin Rider, like Ashes and Ogres. It's just like if they have no idea what to do, like it obviously works to your benefit. And if you can understand how to like properly chain block against the cards you can read, it's so incredibly rewarding in this deck.
You got rewarded for killing it. What was your record at the end, by the way? How many players as well in the regional?
We were just shy of 500 players, 9 rounds, so I ended up X3. So I just
Okay.
just barely slid in X3.
Yeah, okay, okay. Still, though, the fact that you did it with Zephra in such a ridiculous, crazy format, you could have played this in, like, much more, I don't know, calmer formats, and you probably would have gone 7-2 or even 8-1, or we never know, maybe 9-0, huh?
Very excited to take this to like more bigger events. I know there's
Oh.
YCS Charlotte coming up in a week. I'm
Hmm.
hoping to make it to that, and then whatever more in Florida. There's rumors that Nationals is going to be in Orlando, so
Oh,
yeah, we have
okay.
fingers crossed for that. But I think this deck has a really bright future as long as things like Brave is going around, and Prank Kids and like all these PK stuff. Like
Hmm.
as long as those decks stay in the meta and Path exists, then this deck is going to do good.
This deck is basically Path Turbo now.
Yeah, and if like it's impossible to lose if you resolve Path.
That's actually crazy. Oh man, freaking sick deck! I can't wait to look into it a little bit more myself, and I'm actually down to try to make some combo videos on this deck, actually from scratch. Yeah, if I need help though, I will definitely request your aid.
I'm your
man.
guy.
Yes. Oh man, thank you so much for the deck profile. Do you have any last words before this video ends?
I guess not. Oh, Lava Golem. That was actually Yassine's recommendation. God bless. Lava Golem was amazing. It's so good. You just side out the Nebs, throw in Lava Golems, and your go second's like so much stronger with evenly matched in the gammas.
Yeah. It's like it only conflicts with your normal summoning, but if you side out the Neb, then you really don't care, and your deck doesn't even need a normal summon. I mean, like,
the Neb's the only normal, yeah.
Yeah, and it's not even a pendulum card, so who cares? And oh, by the way, Steven approves of your deck, and I also approve. So you're like double blessed.
Double blessed. All right.
All right, well, thank you so much, Anthony, for this beautiful deck profile. Huge shoutouts to you, by the way, one of my favorite humans on this planet. And yeah, guys, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.